The emergency session of the Galactic Council lasted for 3 standard days, without a single break. Representatives from 12 species gathered around the crystalline conference table, while holographic displays showed data from the human demonstration. The readings were being analyzed and reanalyzed, but the conclusions remained the same. Humanity possessed technology that surpassed most council members. Ambassador Crixtal stood before the assembled delegates, his crystalline form dimmed with exhaustion and concern. "The implications of what we witnessed cannot be understated," he announced. "A species we classified as primitive has demonstrated capabilities that place them among the most advanced civilizations in known space." General Vos Cree paced back and forth, his heavy footsteps echoing through the chamber. The Altarian war leader had mobilized his entire fleet after receiving reports from the demonstration. "How did an entire civilization develop such technologies without our knowledge?" he demanded. "Our monitoring stations should have detected energy signatures of this magnitude decades ago." The insect-like delegate from the Mantari collective clicked her mandibles in rapid succession. Specialist Hive 9 had been reviewing sensor data from the Alpha Centauri demonstration for 18 hours straight. "The temporal manipulation alone should have required the combined resources of our 3 most advanced civilizations," she observed. "Yet the humans accomplished it with a single fleet of moderate-sized vessels." President Helen Foster appeared via quantum entanglement communication from Earth. The holographic projection showed her sitting in the Oval Office with advisors from various government departments. "Honorable delegates," she began in a calm voice, "humanity has never attempted to deceive the Council about our technological capabilities. You simply never asked the right questions." Ambassador Flux 7 from the Centauran Federation processed this statement through his liquid metal consciousness. "President Foster, your species was classified as Level 2 on our technological development scale," he stated with mechanical precision. "Level 2 civilizations do not possess dimensional manipulation technology or temporal field generators." Dr. Patricia Cole joined President Foster in the transmission. "The classification system assumes that technological development follows a predictable linear path," she explained. "Humanity took a different approach. While your species focused on improving existing technologies incrementally, we focused on breakthrough innovations and fundamental paradigm shifts." The truth was more complex than the Council wanted to accept and far more disturbing than they were prepared to admit. Every major alien civilization had lost ships in or near human space over the past century. Crashes, malfunctions, and navigation errors had left alien technology scattered across Earth, where human scientists had studied, analyzed, and improved upon every component. Supreme Chancellor Ovex Prime of the Rigelian hegemony spoke for the first time since the session began. His species was among the most ancient in the galaxy, with a technological tradition spanning 50,000 years. "The energy readings from your atmospheric processors suggest power generation methods we have not encountered before," he said, slowly. "What is the source of such capabilities?" Engineer Katie Sullivan appeared in a separate transmission from Site Omega. "Chancellor, your species and others have provided us with excellent examples of fusion technology over the years," she replied. "We studied your methods, then developed controlled antimatter reactions and zero-point field manipulation. Our power output per unit mass is now approximately 50 times greater than standard Council technology." The political implications were staggering, and every delegate understood that the balance of power in known space had shifted overnight. Trade agreements that had been negotiated over centuries would need complete revision. Military alliances required immediate reconsideration. Most importantly, humanity's previous application for Council membership, which had been rejected as premature, suddenly became the most critical diplomatic issue in galactic politics. The Draknari Empire had responded to the demonstration by placing their entire military on high alert. War leader Grax Thule participated in the Council session, while his fleets maintained defensive positions around key Draknari worlds. "We demand to know the full extent of human military capabilities," he growled. "The weapons demonstrated at Alpha Centauri exceed our most powerful armaments." Admiral Nancy Carter joined the communication link from her flagship. War leader, the demonstration used training weapons operating at 20% power output, she stated matter-of-factly. Our actual military systems are classified, but I can assure you they are designed for defensive purposes only. This revelation sent shockwaves through the assembled delegates. If the weapons that had vaporized asteroids in seconds were operating at reduced power, the implications for galactic security were enormous. Several species began calculating whether their defensive systems could withstand human weapons operating at full capacity. Specialist Hive 9 raised another critical concern. The manufacturing requirements for such technology would necessitate massive industrial infrastructure, she observed. Our satellites monitor human space continuously. We see no evidence of facilities capable of producing such advanced systems, Captain. Linda Gray activated new holographic displays, showing the hidden human industrial network. Underground facilities, orbital shipyards, and asteroid mining operations appeared on screen. All had been concealed using technology adapted from multiple alien sources. We built our manufacturing capacity where your monitoring systems could not detect it, she explained. The scope of human deception was becoming clear, and it frightened the council delegates more than the advanced technology itself. Humanity had not simply developed new innovations overnight. They had been preparing for this revelation. For decades, while maintaining the appearance of a primitive developing civilization, Chancellor Ovex Prime struggled to process the implications. Your species has been studying our technologies for an extended period, he stated. Every crashed vessel, every malfunction probe has provided you with additional knowledge to advance your own development. Dr. Cole nodded respectfully. Every piece of alien technology found in human space has been examined, studied, and improved upon, she confirmed. We are grateful for the learning opportunities your various civilizations have provided over the years. The Zephyrian Intelligence Service had been reviewing historical data, and their findings were disturbing. We have lost contact with 17 scout vessels in or near human space over the past 70 years, reported Intelligence Director Zex Mori. We attributed these losses to navigation errors and equipment failures, Commander Jake Morrison joined. The communication from Earth. Director, those vessels provided invaluable insights into Zephyrian dimensional fold technology, he said. Our current faster-than-light systems are based on improvements to your original designs. The revelation that human technology was based on reverse-engineered alien systems was troubling enough. The fact that humanity had improved upon technologies that had taken other species millennia to develop was genuinely terrifying. It suggested that human scientific capability far exceeded anything the Council had encountered. Trade Representative Click Snore from the Vegan Commerce Guild raised economic concerns. If human manufacturing capabilities are as advanced as demonstrated, the economic implications are severe, he warned. Your species could potentially produce goods at costs that would destabilize interstellar commerce. President Foster addressed these concerns directly. We have no intention of disrupting established trade relationships, she assured the delegates. Our goal is integration, not domination. We believe shared technology and cooperative development will benefit all species. The Council faced an unprecedented situation. A species they had dismissed as primitive had revealed capabilities that exceeded most member civilizations. The demonstration at Alpha Centauri had shown technology that should not exist according to established scientific principles. Most disturbing of all, humanity had achieved these advances by studying and improving alien technology. General Voss Kree finally voiced the question that every delegate was considering. What assurance do we have that human intentions remain peaceful? He demanded. A species capable of temporal manipulation and dimensional warfare could conquer the galaxy if they chose to do so. Admiral Carter smiled grimly. General, the same technology that could be used for conquest is far more valuable for exploration and development, she replied. We can terraform dead worlds in days, create habitable environments throughout the galaxy, and solve resource scarcity for all species. Why would we choose warfare when we could choose prosperity? The session continued as delegates struggled to accept the new reality of human technological supremacy. Some species called for immediate military preparations while others advocated for rapid diplomatic engagement. The Galactic Council, which had maintained stability for thousands of years, suddenly faced a future where all their assumptions about technological development and galactic power structures had been proven wrong. Ambassador Krixtal called for a final vote on the human membership application. All species in favor of granting immediate Level 8 status and full Council membership to humanity, he announced. The Alpha Centauri system had never seen so many alien ships gathered in one place. Observation vessels from 12 different Council species maintained careful distances around the demonstration area. Each ship bristled with sensors and recording equipment designed to document whatever the humans were about to reveal. Admiral Nancy Carter stood on the bridge of the dreadnought Excalibur, watching the alien fleet through her main display. "All ships report ready, Admiral," announced Communications Officer Tony Reed. The human fleet had appeared seemingly from nowhere using dimensional fold technology that allowed them to bypass normal space entirely. 37 vessels of various sizes floated in perfect formation, each one representing technologies that the Council believed impossible for a species like humanity. Captain Linda Gray commanded the destroyer Phoenix from her position at the tactical demonstration area. Her ship had been specifically chosen for its advanced weapon systems and defensive capabilities. Unlike the crude vessels the aliens expected, the Phoenix gleamed with armor plating that seemed to absorb light itself. Energy conduits along the hull pulsed with power that made the space around the ship shimmer. Phase 1, Admiral. Gray reported through the quantum communication network, initiating combat demonstration protocols. The Phoenix vanished from normal space using dimensional displacement technology adapted from crashed Zephyrian scout ships. For 3 seconds, the alien observers detected nothing on their sensors. Then the human destroyer reappeared instantly behind a field of asteroids that had been prepared as targets. Energy weapons erupted from the Phoenix in brilliant streams of coherent light that made the surrounding space glow like a miniature star. The weapons were based on Draknari military technology, but improved by human engineers to achieve power outputs that exceeded anything in the current Council arsenals. Each blast reduced house-sized asteroids to glowing particles in milliseconds. The Altarian observation ship transmitted frantically to their command structure. Target engagement time less than 0.05 seconds, General Voss Cree reported. Weapon power output measuring 7.3 terawatts per discharge. This exceeds our most optimistic projections for human capabilities. Captain Gray activated the Phoenix's defensive systems for the second part of the demonstration. Energy shields flared to life around the destroyer, creating a protective barrier that bent incoming projectiles around the ship. The shields were based on Centauran technology, but used human innovations that reduced power consumption by 70%, while increasing protective capacity. Phase 2. Admiral, Gray announced. Beginning planetary engineering demonstration, the human fleet moved toward a barren world designated as the demonstration target. Admiral Carter had chosen this location specifically because it was lifeless and far from any inhabited systems. The planet was roughly the size of Mars with a thin atmosphere and no magnetic field to protect it from stellar radiation. Commander Rick Johnson led the science vessel Discovery toward the planet's surface. His ship carried terraforming equipment that represented the culmination of 50 years of human technological development. The devices were based on principles discovered in multiple alien crashes, combined with human engineering that made the impossible seem routine. Atmospheric processors. Deploying, Johnson reported as dozens of devices the size of shuttlecraft detached from the Discovery. Each processor contained technology that could transform a planet's entire environment, using controlled nuclear fusion and molecular manipulation techniques. The alien observers watched in stunned silence as the atmospheric processors began their work. Within minutes, the planet's thin atmosphere started to thicken and change composition. Oxygen levels increased while toxic gases were converted into harmless compounds. The process that typically required the combined efforts of multiple Council species working for decades was being accomplished by a single human fleet. In real time, Dr. Patricia Cole monitored the demonstration from her position aboard the science vessel. As Earth's chief scientist, she understood every aspect of the technology being displayed. Atmospheric composition now approaching Earth normal, she announced. Proceeding to surface modification phase. The second wave of devices deployed from the Discovery began reshaping the planet's surface using gravity manipulation technology. Mountains were moved, valleys were filled, and vast areas were leveled to create optimal conditions for the final phase of the demonstration. The devices worked with precision that amazed even the human operators who had trained extensively with the equipment specialist Hive 9 aboard the Mantari observation ship, clicked her mandibles in agitation. They are not just using advanced technology, she transmitted to the Council emergency session. They are rewriting the fundamental laws of physics as we understand them. Admiral Carter smiled as she watched the demonstration proceed exactly as planned. Gentlemen, ladies, and distinguished alien life forms, she announced on all frequencies. What you are witnessing today represents approximately 10% of current human technological capability. We felt it was time for a proper introduction to our actual development level. The final phase began as Commander Johnson activated temporal field generators around a section of the planet's surface. The devices created localized areas where time moved faster than the surrounding space. Within these temporal bubbles, human automated systems began planting vegetation and establishing ecosystems. Alien observers watched in amazement as forests grew from seedlings to maturity in what appeared to be minutes. Lakes formed and filled with water that teemed with microscopic life. Grasslands spread across continents, while weather patterns established themselves in the modified atmosphere. Years of natural development were compressed into hours through controlled manipulation of space-time. Temporal acceleration fields operating at maximum efficiency, Johnson reported. Local time differential now running at approximately 2,000 to 1 ratio. The surface will be fully terraformed within 6 hours of real time. The Zephyrian observation ship moved closer to get detailed sensor readings of the temporal fields. Ambassador Krixtal had seen many wonders in his long career, but nothing like what the humans were accomplishing. This level of temporal manipulation should require the resources of an entire star system, he transmitted. How are they generating such power from mobile platforms? Engineer Katie Sullivan answered from her position aboard the Discovery. Ambassador, we learned from studying your species' approach to energy generation, she said. Then we found more efficient methods using controlled antimatter reactions and zero-point field manipulation. Our power output per unit mass is roughly 50 times greater than standard Council technology. The demonstration continued for 6 hours as the human fleet transformed a dead world into a living planet. Automated systems established multiple biomes from Arctic tundra to tropical forests. Weather control satellites were deployed to maintain optimal conditions. Most impressive of all, the temporal fields were gradually reduced, allowing the new planet to sync with normal space-time while maintaining its artificially accelerated ecosystem. Captain Gray brought the Phoenix alongside the observation ships for the final part of the demonstration. Distinguished observers, you are welcome to send landing parties to verify the results of our terraforming efforts, she announced. You will find a fully functional planetary ecosystem with Earth-compatible atmosphere and multiple established biomes. The alien landing parties spent hours exploring the transformed world, collecting samples and documenting what they found. Every test confirmed that the humans had accomplished in a single day what the most advanced Council species required decades to achieve. The technology was not just functional, but elegant in its simplicity and efficiency, Admiral Carter addressed the alien observers one final time as the demonstration concluded. What you have seen today is possible because humanity approached technological development differently than your species, she explained. While you focused on gradual improvements to existing systems, we focused on breakthrough innovations and fundamental paradigm shifts. The truth was more complex than most aliens could accept. Humanity had reverse-engineered and improved upon every major alien technology discovered over 70 years of secret study. Each crashed ship, each malfunctioned probe, each piece of salvaged equipment had provided insights that human scientists used to leapfrog entire stages of normal technological development. General Voss Kree finally broke the silence that had settled over the alien observation fleet. Admiral Carter, your species has demonstrated capabilities that exceed most current Council members, he admitted, reluctantly. What are your intentions regarding galactic politics and territorial expansion? Carter looked out at the transformed planet where Earth vegetation was already adapting to local conditions under the guidance of human environmental systems. "General, our intentions are exactly what we stated to the Council," she replied. "We seek recognition as equals and full membership in the galactic community. We believe cooperation and shared knowledge will benefit all species." The demonstration fleet began forming up for departure using dimensional fold technology that allowed them to bypass normal space entirely. 6 months before the council meeting, Dr. Alan Foster stood in the deepest part of the Colorado mountains, watching the final tests of humanity's greatest secret. The facility, known only as Site Omega, stretched for miles through tunnels carved from solid rock. Massive elevators carried equipment and personnel between dozens of levels that descended far below the surface where no alien satellite could detect their activities. Engineer Katie Sullivan moved between control panels that glowed with soft blue light. Her fingers danced across holographic displays that would have impressed even the most advanced council species. The quantum displacement drive hummed with power in the center of the testing chamber, surrounded by containment fields that bent space around the massive machine. All systems showing green across the board. Katie reported to the observation deck where Dr. Foster and his team monitored every detail. The displacement field is stable at 97% efficiency and holding steady. Brad Chen worked at the calibration station, fine-tuning the dimensional matrices that made faster-than-light travel possible. His grandfather had been part of the original team that studied the first alien wreckage found on Earth. 3 generations of the Chen family had contributed to this moment. "Dimensional fold generators are synchronized," he announced. "We can initiate jump sequence on your command." Dr. Foster wiped sweat from his forehead despite the cool temperature maintained throughout the facility. At 62 years old, he had spent most of his life working toward this day. His father had started the project with nothing but theories and salvaged alien components. His grandfather had been present when the first crashed alien ship was discovered in the Nevada desert in 1947. The testing chamber contained wonders that defied everything the public knew about human technology. Workers moved massive components using gravity manipulation fields that made 1,000-ton machines float like feathers. Energy weapons capable of slicing through neutronium sat in testing bays waiting for field trials. Most impressive were the manufacturing units that could assemble complex machinery at the molecular level building. Entire spacecraft components atom by atom. Lieutenant Colonel Steve Martinez watched through reinforced windows as the prototype underwent its final checks. The military liaison had been skeptical when first assigned to the project 5 years earlier. Now he understood why 3 generations of presidents had kept this program classified at the highest levels. "How long before we can mass-produce these systems?" he asked. Katie looked up from her displays. "Give us 6 more months," she replied. "The automated assembly lines are already producing components at a rate of 50 units per day. We just need to scale up production and train operators for the new facilities in Arizona and Alaska." In another section of Site Omega Communications, Specialist Maria Lopez monitored alien transmissions from across the galaxy. Banks of quantum receivers intercepted messages between council species, providing intelligence that had shaped human technology development for decades. "Sir, we are picking up increased chatter about human activities," she reported. "Multiple species are starting to notice discrepancies in their intelligence reports about our capabilities." The main display showed intercepts from Zephyrian intelligence services discussing unusual energy readings detected near Earth. Altarian military communications mentioned human ships that appeared and disappeared without explanation. Even the typically secretive Mantari Collective was sharing concerns about technological developments they could not explain. Colonel Danny Wright entered the communications center wearing the black uniform of the Shadow Division. His organization had been preparing for this moment since its creation in 1955, when the second alien crash site was discovered. "Operation Sunrise goes active tomorrow," he announced to his team of specialists. "It is time the galaxy learned what humans are truly capable of achieving." The Shadow Division had been Earth's most classified military unit for 70 years. Their mission was simple but crucial: Study alien technology, reverse engineer every component, and develop human versions that surpass the originals. They had succeeded beyond the wildest dreams of their founders. Captain Linda Gray stood in the hangar bay of Site Omega, looking up at the newest addition to Earth's secret fleet. The destroyer Phoenix gleamed under the artificial lights, its hull covered in armor plating that could deflect energy weapons and kinetic projectiles. Unlike the primitive vessels, the aliens expected human ships combined technologies from 12 different species into something entirely new. Final systems check complete, reported her chief engineer Tony Reed. The Phoenix was equipped with weapons systems that belonged in the arsenals of the Council's most feared civilizations. Energy, cannons that could punch through planetary shields, missile systems that could track targets through dimensional folds, defensive systems that made the ship nearly invisible to most sensors. Dr. Foster joined Colonel Wright in the main control center, where dozens of technicians prepared for the revelation that would change everything. "Are we ready?" Foster asked. The question carried the weight of 70 years of secret development and preparation. Wright nodded. "Our manufacturing facilities are operating at full capacity. The orbital shipyards are completing final assembly on the demonstration fleet. Most importantly, our personnel are trained and ready for whatever comes next." The orbital shipyards were perhaps humanity's greatest achievement. Hidden behind the moon and cloaked by technology, adapted from 6 different alien species, the facilities had been building Earth's true space fleet for 20 years. Automated systems worked around the clock, assembling vessels that incorporated the best technologies found in crashed alien ships combined with human innovations that often surpassed the originals. Engineer Susan Parker monitored the shipyards from her station deep within Site Omega. "Current production rate is 12 ships per month," she reported. "We have 47 vessels completed and another 23 in various stages of assembly. The demonstration fleet is fully operational and waiting for orders." The demonstration fleet represented just a fraction of humanity's actual capabilities. Admiral Nancy Carter would command the operation from her flagship, the dreadnought Excalibur. The ship was larger and more powerful than anything in the current Council fleets, combining human engineering with alien technologies in ways their original designers never imagined. Dr. Patricia Cole arrived at Site Omega carrying the diplomatic credentials that would allow her to address the Galactic Council. As Earth's chief scientist, she understood better than anyone how humanity had achieved the impossible. "The reverse engineering projects are complete," she announced. "We have successfully adapted and improved upon every major alien technology discovered over the past century." The list of achievements was staggering. Anti-gravity technology from the Roswell incident had been perfected and scaled up for massive industrial use. Faster-than-light communication principles from a malfunctioned Centauran probe had yielded quantum entanglement networks that spanned the solar system. Energy weapons recovered from a Draknari scout ship had been improved to the point where human versions were 3 times more powerful than the originals. Foster looked around the control center at the faces of people who had dedicated their lives to this moment. Scientists, engineers, soldiers, and technicians who had worked in complete secrecy for decades. Their families believed they worked on classified military projects. Their friends thought they were part of routine space programs. Only a few hundred people on Earth knew the truth about humanity's hidden technological revolution. "Tomorrow we reveal ourselves to the galaxy," Foster said, "not as a primitive species seeking help, but as equals bringing gifts that will transform civilized space. We have spent 70 years learning from our teachers. Now it is time to show them what their students have accomplished." The quantum displacement. Drive powered up for its final test, sending ripples through space-time that would be detected by alien sensors across the galaxy. For the first time, humanity would appear on Council monitoring systems as something other than a developing civilization. The age of hiding in the shadows was ending. Colonel Wright activated the facility-wide communications system. "All personnel, this is Operation Sunrise." His voice echoed through miles of underground tunnels and chambers. 70 years of secret development ends tomorrow. Make sure our technology is ready to change the galaxy forever. The massive space station called Nexus Prime floated in the darkness between stars like a giant metal flower with 12 petals. Each petal belonged to a different alien race that made up the Galactic Council. Inside the central meeting hall, Ambassador Krixtal from the Zephyrian Empire stood before a holographic display that showed human ships moving through space at impossible speeds. Commander Jake Morrison sat at the human observation table wearing his dark blue Earth Defense Force uniform. Next to him, Captain Lisa Hayes checked her datapad for the third time in 10 minutes. They had been invited as observers, but both knew today would change everything. The other aliens in the room made various sounds of concern as they watched. The display Krixtal was tall and thin like a crystal sculpture that could walk and talk. His voice sounded like wind chimes when he spoke. 3 cycles ago, we thought humans were barely able to reach their own moon without exploding, he said, pointing at the hologram. Their fastest ships took months to travel between planets in their own system. Now our sensors show human vessels moving faster than most of our warships. The Altarian delegate General Voss Kree slammed his 4-fingered hand on the metal table. He looked like a cross between a lizard and a bear with gray scales and yellow eyes. This is impossible, he growled. Our intelligence reports show humans still using primitive chemical rockets for most of their space travel. Morrison stood up, slowly. His gray hair and weathered face showed years of military service, but his eyes were sharp and alert. General Voss Kree raises an interesting point about intelligence reports, he said in a calm voice. Perhaps your intelligence needs updating, Doctor. Patricia Cole joined Morrison at the front of the room. She was shorter than the military officers, but her presence commanded attention. Her brown hair was pulled back in a simple bun, and she wore the white coat of Earth Scientific Corps. Honored delegates, we have been observing your technologies and methods for 50 years, she said, holding up her datapad. During this time, we have been developing our own solutions to the challenges of space travel and planetary engineering. The insect-like delegate from the Mantari Collective clicked her mandibles together in what Morrison knew was their version of nervous laughter. Dr. Cole, you speak as if humans have been hiding advanced technology, Specialist Hive 9 said through her translation device. Our monitoring stations would have detected energy signatures from such developments. Captain Hayes activated her own holographic display showing detailed schematics of human spacecraft. The designs were sleek and elegant with curves and angles that seemed to bend light around them. These are our current generation starships, she announced. The vessels your sensors detected yesterday were older models from our reserve fleet, the ASI. Room fell silent except for the hum of life support systems and the occasional translation device. The alien delegates stared at the human ship designs with expressions of shock and disbelief. Even with their different faces and features, the surprise was obvious. Krixtal's crystalline form seemed to dim slightly. These designs show technology that should not exist in your civilization for another 1,000 years, he said. Anti-gravity drives dimensional fold engines and what appears to be temporal shielding. Where did humans acquire such knowledge? Morrison smiled for the first time since entering the room. We acquired it the same way any intelligent species acquires knowledge, he said. We observed, we learned, and we improved upon what we found. The difference is that we did it quietly. The Centauran trade representative, Ambassador Flux 7, spoke through his liquid metal form. His voice came from speakers built into his mobile platform since his species had no solid bodies. You speak of improvement as if you have surpassed our technologies, he said with mechanical precision. The Centauran Federation has been developing faster than light travel for 10,000 years. Dr. Cole nodded respectfully. Your faster-than-light technology is indeed impressive, Ambassador, she said. Our ships can travel the same distance in roughly 1/10 the time using 100th the energy. We learned from your methods and found more efficient solutions. General Voss Kree stood up so quickly his chair fell backward with a crash. This is a deception, he snarled. No primitive species develop such capabilities without detection. You must have stolen our technology. Hayes laughed, but not in a mean way. General, your species and several others have had ships crash or malfunction in our solar system over the past century, she said. We studied every piece of wreckage, every component, every theoretical principle. Then we made them better, the Draknari. War Leader began to pace back and forth, his heavy footsteps echoing in the chamber. If humans possess such technology, why reveal it now? He demanded. Why maintain the pretense of being a developing civilization? Morrison looked at each alien delegate in turn before answering. Because we were not ready for the political complications of being recognized as an advanced species, he said simply. We needed time to develop not just the technology, but the infrastructure to support it and the wisdom to use it properly. Specialist Hive 9's compound eyes focused on the human displays. The manufacturing requirements for these technologies would require massive industrial capacity, she observed. Our satellites monitor your planet continuously. We see no evidence of such facilities. Captain Hayes touched a control on her data pad, and new images appeared in the air above the table. They showed vast underground complexes with machines and equipment that gleamed under artificial lights. Workers in environmental suits moved between assembly lines that stretched as far as the eye could see. We built our advanced facilities where your satellites could not see them, she said. Underground beneath oceans and inside hollowed out. Asteroids. The room erupted in excited chatter as the aliens began talking among themselves in their various languages. Some sounded angry, others fearful, and a few seemed impressed. Morrison waited for the noise to die down before speaking again. Honored Delegates Earth formally requests recognition as a Level 8 civilization and full membership in the Galactic Council, he announced. We believe our technological contributions and strategic capabilities qualify us for immediate consideration. Ambassador Crickstal's form brightened as he processed the implications. A Level 8 civilization was among the most advanced in known space. Only 3 current council members held that classification. Commander Morrison, such a classification would require extensive review and verification, he said carefully. Dr. Cole stepped forward with another datapad. We have prepared comprehensive documentation of our capabilities, she said. Manufacturing capacity, energy output, defensive systems, and exploratory technologies. We are also prepared to demonstrate these capabilities if the Council requires proof. The silence that followed was heavy with tension. Every delegate understood that the balance of power in the galaxy had just shifted dramatically. Humanity was no longer a primitive species seeking protection and trade agreements. They had become potential equals or possibly even superiors in the galactic community. Morrison looked around the room one more time. The demonstration can be arranged for next week in the Alpha Centauri system, he said. We suggest all Council members send observation ships to witness what humanity has been quietly developing, while you assumed we were still learning to leave our home planet. 6 months after the demonstration, the galaxy had adapted to the new reality of human technological supremacy, though not without considerable difficulty. Earth had become the center of a revolution in scientific understanding that rippled through every aspect of galactic civilization. Luna Station orbited Earth's moon as a gleaming symbol of the new order, where alien and human ships docked side by side in what had become the most important diplomatic facility in known space. Dr. Alan Foster stood in the observation deck watching delegates from 17 different species arrive for the quarterly technology exchange conference. The meetings had become essential for maintaining stability as various civilizations struggled to integrate human innovations with their existing systems. What had started as emergency diplomatic sessions had evolved into regular gatherings that were reshaping the foundation of galactic society. Admiral Jake Morrison joined Foster at the viewing window. His promotion to Supreme Commander of Human Space Forces reflected Earth's new status as a major galactic power. The hardest part was never developing the technology, he observed. It was deciding when and how to reveal our capabilities without triggering a galactic war. The integration had indeed been challenging, and several species had responded with initial hostility. The Draknari Empire had attempted to impose economic sanctions on human space, only to discover that their economy depended heavily on rare minerals that Earth could now synthesize using molecular manipulation technology. The sanctions collapsed. Within weeks, as Draknari industrial capacity ground to a halt, engineer Katie Sullivan now served as Director of Technology Exchange, managing the careful dissemination of human innovations to species that could use them safely. Her office overlooked the main docking bays where alien ships waited to receive upgraded systems. "We are sharing gravity manipulation technology with the Centaurans next week," she reported. "Their transportation networks could benefit significantly from the reduced energy requirements." The process of sharing technology had proven more complex than anyone anticipated. Human innovations often required fundamental changes to alien manufacturing processes and scientific understanding. What seemed simple to human engineers required months of careful explanation and demonstration for species that had developed along different technological paths. Captain Linda Gray had been promoted to Director of Fleet Operations, overseeing the integration of human vessels with existing Council defense networks. The Phoenix and other human ships now served alongside alien vessels in joint patrol missions that maintained security throughout civilized space. "The Altarians are requesting assistance with their border defense systems," she announced. "Apparently, our sensor technology can detect threats they were missing." President Helen Foster concluded her morning briefing with alien ambassadors before joining the group at Luna Station. As Earth's first president for galactic affairs, she spent most of her time managing the political implications of humanity's technological revolution. "The Rigelian hegemony has formally requested human assistance with their atmospheric restoration project," she announced. 3 of their colony worlds were damaged by solar radiation, and they lacked the terraforming capacity to repair them quickly. The most profound change was philosophical rather than technological. For millennia, the Galactic Council had operated under the assumption that scientific development followed predictable patterns. Species were expected to advance through specific stages at measurable rates. Humanity had shattered those assumptions, proving that innovation could leap forward through creative thinking and unconventional approaches. Dr. Patricia Cole had been appointed as Earth's science ambassador, spending her time traveling between alien homeworlds to lecture at their most prestigious institutions. "The secret was never that we were smarter or more advanced than other species," she explained to a gathering of Zephyrian researchers. "We were simply willing to think differently. While you improved upon existing concepts, we questioned the fundamental assumptions behind those concepts." The educational exchange programs had become enormously popular, with alien students competing for positions at human universities and research facilities. Earth's scientific institutions found themselves hosting delegates from across the galaxy, all eager to understand how humanity had achieved such rapid technological advancement. Commander Rick Johnson led the terraforming division that was transforming the galactic approach to planetary engineering. Human methods could establish habitable environments in a fraction of the time required by traditional techniques. "We have 17 terraforming projects currently active," he reported. "Each one is a joint venture with Council species, providing them with direct experience using our techniques." The economic implications had stabilized after the initial disruption, but fundamental changes were still occurring throughout galactic commerce. Human manufacturing capabilities allowed for production costs that traditional methods could not match. Rather than destroying existing industries, the technology-sharing programs were upgrading alien production facilities to use human innovations trade. Representative Susan Parker managed the complex negotiations required to integrate human economic capacity with established galactic commerce. "The key is ensuring that technological advancement benefits everyone, rather than displacing existing civilizations," she explained. "We can upgrade alien facilities to use our techniques rather than replacing them entirely." The military applications remained the most sensitive aspect of human integration with galactic society. Human weapons technology exceeded anything in current Council arsenals, but humanity had demonstrated remarkable restraint in its application. Joint training exercises showed that human defensive systems could protect entire sectors from threats that previously required massive military responses. General Voss Cree had become an unexpected advocate for human integration after witnessing their restraint during several border conflicts. Human military technology could easily dominate any opposition, he admitted during a Council security briefing. "The fact that they choose cooperation over conquest demonstrates wisdom that many older civilizations lack. The research collaborations were producing innovations that exceeded what either humans or aliens could achieve independently. Zephyrian dimensional science combined with human temporal manipulation was yielding insights into the fundamental nature of space-time itself. Centauran energy technology enhanced by human antimatter expertise was revolutionizing power generation. Throughout the galaxy, Dr. Foster reviewed the progress reports from dozens of joint research projects. "We are not just sharing our technology," he observed. "We are learning from alien approaches and creating entirely new scientific disciplines through collaboration." The cultural exchange had been equally significant. Human art, music, and literature were finding audiences throughout the galaxy, while alien cultural traditions were being embraced on Earth. The cross-pollination of ideas was creating a renaissance in creative expression that enriched every participating civilization. Ambassador Crixtal had become one of humanity's strongest supporters on the Council, despite his initial skepticism. The integration of human civilization with galactic society represents the most significant advancement in our collective development for 10,000 years, he declared during the anniversary celebration. They have not just contributed technology, but a new way of thinking about scientific progress itself. President Foster addressed the assembled delegates at the conclusion of the first year of full human membership. "Humanity offers our technologies not as conquerors, but as partners," she declared. "We believe that cooperation and shared knowledge will benefit all species. However, let this serve as a reminder that judging a civilization by its apparent limitations can be a dangerous mistake." The galaxy had learned a valuable lesson about the nature of technological development and the importance of looking beyond surface appearances. Humanity had not become advanced overnight. They had been preparing for this moment for generations, working in secret to ensure that when they finally revealed themselves, they would do so not as supplicants seeking admission to an advanced civilization, but as equals bringing gifts that would transform the galaxy. As Admiral Morrison often remarked during diplomatic functions, "We did not become advanced overnight. We just became visible overnight." The new paradigm was still evolving as humanity continued to share innovations while learning from alien approaches to science and technology. The galaxy was becoming a more connected and cooperative place where different species could contribute their unique perspectives to solve challenges that no single civilization could address alone. The future held unlimited potential as human innovation combined with alien wisdom created possibilities that neither could have imagined separately.